Let's get back to some questions. Our dear friend Sarah asks, Sarah J Photography, do you find your knowledge of D&B, dodging and burning, has also helped with your photography and lighting, or vice versa? It's a great
That
question,
is a
Sarah.
very good question. And I say that it has tremendously just because I am able to be on set and pay attention to where light is falling and where shadows falling. And because dodge and burn tells me just how much I can pull and push an image, being on set in real life allows me to see physically how much information is going to be there when I take the picture. And if I need to correct it by adding in a bounce card or adding in some flash. So because of that, I think it has been a tremendous impact because I can then, add and fix lighting on set in order to get the most of my files later. That's the biggest mistake I think I get from people who send me files as a retoucher is there's no information in parts of the image, but if they knew beforehand what's possible in Photoshop, they could then be prepared on the shoot.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. It's a great question. Pratik, in fact, if you want to stop sharing your screen for a moment until we need to go back to it, then it will probably release some of the
Sure.
bandwidth to your gorgeous face. There you go. It's a bit sharper, so it's always good. Right, let's get back to some questions. Gustavo asks, how do you keep the texture in the skin? I guess when you're correcting and stuff, how do you prevent the whole porcelain look which we see so often, right?
For me, I think the biggest thing is only sticking to healing, cloning, dodging, and burning for the most part, as much as possible. And you'll find when you go through my series, if you by chance have it, or you see any of my other tutorials, that I tend to be very, very careful in my process. Because of using those tools specifically, I'm able to save and I can also add skin texture in different places as well. So I tend to not use frequency separation as much because, if you do it incorrectly, it can displace texture in a very unpleasing way. But for me, sticking to the principles of good healing and cloning and dodging and burning will save a lot of skin detail. And if you're a photographer, I always shoot at a higher f-stop to capture that texture in case you have a very soft lens. So knowing your sweet spot of that lens is very, very critical. And the harder the lighting that you have, the more pore detail and retention you do get to.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. Pablo asked a question about your texture feature. How does the texture feature work with the panel? I wonder, do you think that's a question for just now? Because I'm actually hoping to have Pratik join us again for another show, and I wonder if we should
Yeah,
touch on that just now very briefly, and then maybe have you back for some more
sure.
detailed
Yeah,
stuff. So just a
yeah,
just a quick oversight for Pablo, I think.
sure. Absolutely. So do you see my screen?
We do. Yep.
Perfect. So the texture tab, this is called the Infinite Looks panel. And this window here is called the visualizer. We call it the visualizer because it's allowing us to visualize the different colors, the color grades. But we also have another tool called the Infinite Texture panel. And the Infinite Texture panel itself is a tool that is used to actually search and add textures to an image. And we have tens of thousands of textures, but we've categorized it in a very similar way where if you're looking for like sky, you can hit sky and hit enter, and then you can find different sky options. And then it generates textures based on similarity to that particular sky image. And it has a random slider as well. And the higher you go up on it, the further it starts getting more random based on the reference point. So if I do want to add a sky to the image, I can say add, and then it'll go ahead and add that sky texture to the image as well in high res. And let me go ahead and minimize that. And then I can then mask that in once I have gone and added that particular image. So the Infinite Texture panel is basically a means to find any texture that you're looking for, very high res, and they're all shot at extremely high resolution and applies as a smart object in order to give you the power to find anything that you're looking for. And they all have a commercial license in case anybody is actually looking to use it for their commercial work. But it has a range of textures, and it hasn't. I still haven't gotten to the end of everything that it has, so it gives you an idea of what's possible.
Yeah, there's millions of looks in there and probably infinite, hence the name, numbers
Yeah,
of textures, right? So
it
thank
is.
you for that question. And Michelle asks, is the action you have with all the layers something you made yourself?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's part of the series that Pratik has, where he creates his infinite looks, right?
Yeah, so these layers themselves for the actions, they are all in the retouching series. So if you actually have my educational platform, I just included them and I made these myself. And then what I did was I just recorded each step into an action so that I don't have to manually do them every single time. And they have a ton of other very interesting and helpful workflow actions that can just expedite it. So for instance, if I want to just add my entire layer stack, I have a retouching setup action which generates everything that I'm going to be doing through my image from cleaning to dodge and burn to the color fix, which I showed you today, and some helper layers to help you see a little bit of the problems better. So it has everything that I showed you, but just elaborated into these individual folders. And then through that process, I also talk about different things like frequency separation and when I use that, and when it can be applicable for and what specific purpose within the workflow.
Okay. Now, I'm not actually sure if we're still live at the moment, Pratik. I think we may have been taken down. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah's let us know that we are back up, which is good to know.
Great.
The reason there seems to be a lot of takedown notices on YouTube at the moment is we've witnessed it with some other friends. Is one, there's a lot more content out there, so places like Facebook and YouTube are using a lot more artificial intelligence and bots to analyze live streams and analyze the feeds, and they're making a lot of mistakes basically and taking down content that shouldn't be taken down. So apologies that we lost you on the live feed. I'll try and find a way to maybe stitch these two together in some brutal way to join them up. But yeah, so I'll have to appeal and see if we can get that other video back up. So apologies that we dropped everybody halfway through. Pratik, I think really what we'll do for now is just thank you for giving us some insight in what to do. And while we were off air there slightly, Pratik did promise that he'd come back and do
Yeah.
some more for us, right?
Yeah, when there's less bots.
Well, I think there's two issues. I think there's obviously way more content, but obviously with the health situation and pandemic around the world, there's a lot more staff in most businesses, so they're using a lot more artificial intelligence to analyze the videos that are streaming. And my only guess is the fact that you had that beautiful portrait of a young lady on the screen for so long. Their bots have went, somebody's streaming something inappropriate, and taken it down actually midstream, which is very disappointing. But anyway, so yeah, you'll come back and do more for us at some point.
Always
Always, I like that.
full time.
I now have that live on air that you'll always come back, which is awesome. So where can people go to find out a bit more about what you showed us today and a bit more about Pratik?
Yep. You can go to the retouchingseries.com, which is basically my educational platform.
Yep.
And for the infinite color, it's at infinitecolorpanel.com. And the looks panel is at infinite-tools.com. So you can find us on those locations in case if you want any of those. If you missed any of that, you can obviously just message me if you are tuning in live. I'm on my Instagram, which I am at Solstice Retouch, Solstice like the sun, Solstice Retouch,
Yeah.
at all my channels.
Yeah, we've got that in a lower third for you there so people can see that. I'll also make sure to put the details in the show notes eventually when we get these videos back up, and the main one. We'll put all those notes in the feed. But for now, Pratik, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me today. Look after yourself, and we will catch up with you very, very soon.
Thank you, Alistair,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for everyone tuning in today. Because I know everyone's working and doing some stuff, so I appreciate you all being with us today.
Yeah. Excellent. So thank you, Pratik. We'll catch up with you soon. To everybody else, thank you so much for joining. A little bit disappointing that got taken down, but we'll deal with that in the back end and get the video posted for you as soon as we can. But in the meantime, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell icon, and that will get you notified about our future streams. And hopefully the AI gods will be kind on us next time. But for now, from myself and Pratik, thank you so much, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.